The December jobs report just released. The United States adding just under 200,000 jobs last month. Economists were expecting 422,000. But in the good news department, the unemployment rate has fallen to 3.9%.
Joining me today is Chris Markowski. He's the host of Watchdog on Wall Street and joins me once again to break down the jobs report. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. And something that I wish was a little bit happier was this jobs report. 199,000 jobs added in December. The unemployment rate, though, was a little bit better, dropping to 3.9%. As always, kick us off here and tell us your thoughts on these numbers.
There's so many conflicting things in this report. It's pulling me in various different directions. You can go back a few months and you can take a look at some of the revisions, which were major to the upside. Actually, back in October, it's over 100,000 plus added. November as well. So that takes a little bit of the sting off the 199,000. I do think that we're dealing in a situation where I think more and more people have just, called it a day. People retiring early, deciding, you know what, I don't feel like going. They may be asked to go back to work and they don't feel like doing it. I can retire early. I think we're really dealing, obviously, with the labor participation problem, which has basically stayed constant at this point in time. It's going to be, and this is inflationary without a doubt. Businesses are having a very difficult time finding workers. I know it's anecdotal, but my son's going back to college, but he's already able to get jobs lined up for the summer just by walking around. He's like, Dad, everyone is looking for help. And that's the case. And small businesses are going to have to pass this on, just like larger businesses are going to pass this on. But again, you take a look at these numbers and you say that it's 199,000, which was much lower than expected. What's the Fed going to do next? Are they going to take a look at that and say, well, I can't raise rates? And, it's everything is being pulled in a myriad of different directions right now, especially with the Omicron thing, schools closing down. And it's very difficult to get one's arms around.
Yeah, and you brought up the expectations. I believe it was just around 422,000 that we were expecting. Obviously, the real number much lower than that expectation. You brought up Omicron and the school closings. Do you think we saw that impact in this report, or will that be more for the January jobs report?
I think so. I do think so. I do believe it's the case. I said, I live in the Northeast. But, I also have offices in Florida and other places that are booming where people are out and about. But when you have major metropolitan areas that are really shut down, it's problematic. New Year's Eve, you go out to dinner, and the restaurant's half empty and many of them closed and normally like a hopping, town outside of New York City. And it was shocking to me. And these are areas that obviously are going to be hurt. Many businesses are saying, you know what, because of the Omicron thing, we're not going to work at maximum capacity. We're going to cut down on the hours. Restaurants only operating maybe 4 days a week rather than working the entire week. That's affecting the jobs report as well.
Absolutely. And also something that's going on today, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments about the President Biden's vaccine mandates. Just to give a quick rundown of what's going on today, the court will review challenges to Biden's employer vaccine mandate issued by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, ordering businesses with 100 or more employees to require their workers to be vaccinated against COVID-19 or submit weekly negative tests. And there also will hear challenges to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services mandate requiring healthcare workers to be inoculated against the virus. So obviously, depending on what this decision is, on both ends, on both cases, how do you think this will impact, the labor force hiring moving forward?
I hope that it gets rejected. We'll see what the Supreme Court does. I think that, at this point in time, I got COVID again. I got Omicron again, lightly. I'm fully vaccinated with a booster. That's my choice. But obviously, it doesn't help in regards to preventing you from getting COVID. I mean, it's patently absurd at this point in time. If anybody actually thinks that it does, you're nuts, because everybody's getting it. It's going around. So again, with the type of information that we have now, and you actually have big lockdown types that were Biden's advisors coming out and saying, you know what, this is it. We can't do anything about this. We're just going to have to learn to live with it and move on with our lives. I don't know if the Supreme Court is going to take that into consideration. When you have a tight labor market like we have, to start putting restrictions on businesses and making it more difficult for them to hire, I don't believe that's a wise choice.
And something we've talked about before, a comment you made last time about inflation, is that there's basically no light at the end of the tunnel. President Biden, I believe his economic rating, CNN reported, is worse than Jimmy Carter, former President Jimmy Carter. What is supposed to be done about inflation? I mean, how can the Biden administration in the new year, coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Biden being sworn into office, how can they aggressively get inflation under control?
I don't think that they can. I think we're at a point in time where we've put ourselves into a box because our national debt is so high. The things that Paul Volcker was able to do back after Jimmy Carter in the early stages of the Reagan presidency, how do we do that now? We start paying back interest on our debt would go through the roof. It would absolutely blow up the budget. At some point in time, we have to stop spending so the Fed can do these things. I do think that some of the inflation will probably wane to some degree once you deal with the supply chain issues and obviously the employment issues that we're having now. But that being said, inflation is a monetary issue. We increased the money supply by 40% just over the past 2 years. And forget about how we've increased it since the Great Recession. That's what we're dealing with right now. People are upset. They're taking a look. And I do that all the time. Everybody has these WTF moments when they look at a bill. And I have them all. I'm like, I can't believe I just spent that. Where did it go? My mother-in-law, I got back from the grocery store. I spent $150 and I didn't get anything, for crying out loud. And everybody's feeling that right now, and they're pretty ticked off about it.